You all know how much I love my Minolta X700. I got one that's broken. I got a second one that's broken. And recently, I just got a third one. After two of these break on me, I just find myself started to lose faith in this camera. Every time I bring this camera out with me, back in my mind, I was always worried about when is this gonna break on me again. So I began to look for something that's more reliable and more robust. And I got this. This is the Nikon FM2. This camera will save your life. I mean, literally. Hey guys, this is Sam. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about the Nikon FM2. This video is going to be divided into 4 sections. Number 1, about a little bit of history, the build, the model, the cost. And number 2, how to use it, how to load it and unload it. Number 3, I will show you some sample photos that's shot with this camera. And number 4, I will talk about what I like and dislike about this camera. Again, whether if you already have experience with this camera or not, you can find the timestamp and watch it accordingly. I have so many hand movements. Nikon FM2 was manufactured in Japan from 1982 to 2001. It is one of the most produced film camera. Finding or repairing this camera nowadays is fairly easy. There are 2 finishes available for this camera, a fully black one like the one I have it here. Another one is with the chrome trim. You can find this on eBay nowadays from $200 to $500, depending on the condition. This camera takes the Nikon F mount. The one I have here, it's the Nikon 50mm 1.4 prime lens. The camera body is built with aluminum silicone alloy. In 1968, documentary photographer Don McCullin was working at the very front line of the Vietnam War. His Nikon F camera stopped the bullet that was aimed at him and saved his life. Over the years, Nikon built this long-lasting reputation for its durability and reliability. The F-series camera is favored by many documentary photographer, photojournalists, landscape and wildlife photographer. One of the most famous portrait African girl by photojournalist Steve McCurry was taken with a Nikon FM2. Even if you don't care about the history and the name of this camera, just look how pretty this is. To be honest, this is the only Nikon camera I own because I'm more of a Canon girl. Alright, let's take a closer look of the features and how to use this camera. First of all, this is a fully mechanical camera. You can put batteries at the bottom. The battery is solely used for its built-in light meter. Without the battery, the shutter will still work. You just have to Sunny 16 it or use a external light meter. To open the back, you need to hold down this button and lift the film winder. The back will pop open. And then you got to put your film in and stick the end into the take-up spool. Recently, I've learned to load it the reverse way, to stick the end first and then pull your film to the other side. Whatever way works for you. And then you got to close the back. Just make sure once you close the film back and when you advance the film, the winder will also turn. This means your film is catching on the wheel properly, so you don't shoot a whole roll without shoot a whole roll. Trust me, it happens. It happens more often than you want it to be. Compared to the Minolta X700, this camera is even more simple and straightforward. Back at the time when I made the X700 video, I said oh, this is a manual camera. I take it back. This is a manual camera. There is no program mode, no aperture shutter, priority mode, yada yada. There is only one mode. It's called time to use your brain mode. First of all, you need to set your film speed by lift the shutter speed ring and turn it to the matching number. That's if you're using the internal light meter. If you don't have batteries in it, this really doesn't matter. Besides, remember what kind of film you have in the camera. And then you can turn this wheel to set your shutter speed and turn the aperture ring on the lens to set your aperture. Easy, right? One thing you need to be mindful with this camera is the advanced lever also works as a on and off button, kind of. When the lever is fully closed, the shutter will be locked. You have to open it and keep it open when shooting. This is a safety lock, so you don't accidentally fire the shutter. This is so annoying and drives me insane because none of my other camera has this function, and I constantly close the lever and forgot to turn it back on. I guess you just have to get used to leaving your thumb in between all the time. Hint the name, shutter release finger guard. Yeah, that's literally what is this thing called on the manual. After you load your film, you want to keep advance the film until you see number 1 shows up in this frame counter window, and then you can start shooting. Now let's take a look of the viewfinder. This camera is using center-weighted exposure metering. In the top center window, it shows your aperture, and the left center window, it's your shutter speed. When you see a red circle, that means you have the correct exposure, and the plus and the minus symbol means over or under exposure. I'll leave a chart here so you can pause the video and see the specific. Besides all of the basics, you also have a self-timer at the front, a depth of view preview button next to the lens, and a double or multiple exposure button here on the advanced lever. After you press down on the shutter once, you can hold this small lever down and then advance the film. The film would stay on the same frame. Then you can keep expose the same frame over and over again to do double, triple, or however how many exposure you want on the exact same frame. I personally never tried this. I think it takes calculation to get it right. So I'll put it on my list. One day we'll try it. Let's see, what else? Oh, you can press down to this button to change the lens. And after you're done with the whole row, you press down to this button back here, and you can roll the film back, just like most of the 35mm camera. Well, I don't have film in this camera right now, but that's how you do it. Alright, I think this is it, and now let's go take some pictures. I first loaded up a roll of Fuji X-TRA 400. I've only shot expired Fuji X-TRA before, so I thought it would be a good chance to also try this film out. I wanted to wait for a nice and sunny day to do this, but oh well. Here we have typical Los Angeles moody, cloudy day. I take a picture of you? Yeah?
Sure.
Thank you. 50mm is my favorite portrait lens, but it might be a little tight to do street photography. Or maybe not. I just have to work my angles. Hey, excuse me. I really like you guys' style. Can I take a picture of you guys?
Yeah.
Can we like just stand like right in front of the ice cream place? Alright. Or maybe not tight enough to capture this man playing the flute while waiting for the red light. I only have this one lens for this camera, so you just gotta work with whatever you have. Excuse me, can I take a picture of you two? I think you guys look really cute, like holding hands together. Just, yeah, right there. That's nice. All right. Excuse me, I really like you two's style. Can I take a picture of you guys? Alright. I like this shot. Excuse me, sir. Can I take a picture of you?
You want to take my picture?
Yeah. Yeah? Alright. And this is my favorite shot on this first row. Alright, the first row is finally done. Oh my god, 36 frame is quite a lot. I finished the first row. Now I just loaded up a roll of black and white film. Before the sun is completely down, let's see if we can finish this row real quick.
That's good. Oh, we got another one. Oh, yeah, we're awesome. Oh, yeah, we're lit.
Can I take a picture of you? Well, after you're done.
Most definitely, yeah.
After you're done.
You're gonna have to guide me through it, because I mean, I guess it's a curse. It's like, bro, I don't know how to take photos, but I know how to take photos.
Let's have you like stand.
I saw him taking photos, he saw me taking photos, so we instantly speak the common language of loving photography.
I really like your style. Can I take a picture of you?
This shot would probably look better in color. A lot of time when I shoot with black and white film, I thought, this should be shot on color film. But choice is already made, gotta commit to it.
Oh, yes, I know, yes, I know, yes, I know now.
I feel like shooting black and white is so much more difficult, especially on a cloudy day. but challenging also make it fun.
On your table. I wanna love you. I wanna love and treat you. Love and treat you right. I wanna love you every day and every night. We'll be together with the roof right over our head. We'll share this.
Alright, let's talk about what I like and dislike about this camera. First thing I love about this camera is I no longer need to worry about the batteries because they don't use the regular AA or AAA batteries, and I just don't have a whole bunch of those button batteries in hand all the time, and without the battery the camera still works. Second of all, this camera feels very reliable. I mean, I only had it for such a short time and I only shot very few rolls on this. I cannot say how long this camera will last me, but just judging by the solid metal camera body, the titanium shutter curtain, I feel like this camera will last me forever. I feel like I can be buried with this camera still working. I do need to think about which camera I want to bring with me into my grave though. I have so many cameras, I'd like to do that. Don't tell me you never thought about bringing one of or all of your camera into your grave. This is a pretty powerful camera. The fastest shutter speed on this goes up to 1/4000th of a second. That's really fast. Actually, I think this is the fastest shutter speed you can find on this level of 35mm film camera. And also the flash sync speed goes up to 1/250th of a second. That altogether makes this camera a very versatile piece of gear. For how powerful this camera is, I just love the simplicity of it. I once said the Hasselblad 501C makes the shooting experience feels important. Oh well, this camera seems like on the total opposite of that. Once you get used to all the buttons and the levers and everything, this camera somewhat feels like it becomes part of you. And the shooting experience feels very natural, and your mind can fully focus on the image itself. Does that make sense? I feel like this is part of my hand or like part of my brain or something. Alright, things I don't like about this camera, besides this very annoying safety lock that's driving me insane, I just wish the exposure display is more accurate, like the traditional exposure display we used to have. But I mean, at this point, I'm really just picking bones out of eggs. So, yeah. Oh, the sunset looks so pretty right now. I just don't think my black and white film can capture this though. All of that being said, this is still my first impression of this camera since I only shot very little with this. Maybe down the road we can make a long-term review. That's if I use this camera enough to do so. Well, y'all know I've been shooting a lot of media format and fall in love with my media format cameras. If you also own this camera, please leave me a comment down below and let me know how you feel about it, your experience with it, and if you don't have it, would you consider to pick one up? Alright, this is it for this week's video, and I hope you enjoy it. If you do, click that like button and consider to subscribe to my channel. This is Sam. I will see you next time. Bye!
Shh. Wow, this time camera is really far away from me.